Hello and welcome to another edition of Focus on Morris County. I'm Joe Garifo, Public Information Officer for the Morris County government. Focus on Morris County is a program that is designed to keep us all up to date on the many actions that are being taken by the Morris County Board of Freeholders. And the show is also intended to make us all more aware of the many aspects of Morris County government. Now, on this segment of the program, we are going to provide you with some information about the county's Household Hazardous Waste Computer Electronic Disposal Day events that are coming up. There is one scheduled for September and another scheduled for October. And my guest is Tom Burbridge. Tom is the Hazardous Waste Coordinator with the Morris County Municipal Utilities Authority, the sponsoring agency for these disposal events. Tom, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
And I know we go through this every time you're on the show, but I just want to ask you, for some of our viewers who may not be familiar with these disposal day events, what are they designed to do?
Well, the events are designed to give the residents of Morris County a safe, convenient, and environmentally friendly way to dispose of their household hazardous waste and their used electronics.
And we'll get into some specifics in just a second, but first I want to ask Tom to give us the dates, the locations for the two upcoming events in September and October.
Okay, so we have two more events for this year. The next event is going to be Saturday, September 13th. It's going to be at the Morris County Public Safety Training Academy, which is at 500 West Hanover Ave in Parsippany. And the last event for the year is going to be Saturday, October 18th at Chatham High School. That's at 255 Lafayette Avenue in Chatham. Now, the events run from 9 to 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Well, a little screwed up.
That's all right.
Okay. So 9 to 2 p.m., rain or shine.
Okay.
And if residents have any questions, they can call us. Our phone number is 973-829-8006, or they can go to our website for information about the events, which is www.mcmua.com.
Now, you mentioned that there are two more events that are coming up. I know there was one that was held in May. Generally, the MUA sponsors 3 of these events each year. So let's talk specifics, Tom, in terms of the items that are accepted. I know when we talk about electronic items, there is a category. Actually, I guess there are 2 categories, and the one that we're going to talk about first is something that you mentioned before we went on the air, covered e-waste.
Yes.
What kinds of items fall into this category of covered e-waste?
Okay, covered e-waste was a term that was part of the New Jersey Electronics Waste Management Act from 2011, and that those items would be your computers, your computer monitors, your personal computers, and televisions. And why they're called covered? They're covered under the Act, and the Act states that residents cannot throw those items out in the trash. They have to be, it's mandated that they be recycled.
And the reason behind banning these particular items, these covered e-waste items from the trash is what?
Well, these items tend to have a fair amount of lead, cadmium, mercury. These are all toxic heavy metals. They're hazardous to both human health and the environment. Example, a computer monitor has about 8 pounds of lead in it. So there's a fair amount of these toxic heavy metals in these items.
Okay, and again, they're called covered e-waste. And so the regular e-waste or uncovered e-waste, you do not accept these at?
No, we do. They're called non-covered e-waste, a term from the Act. And these are other things: stereos, DVD players, printers, scanners. What else? Copiers, Anything like that, anything from the household.
Okay.
We accept also to recycle.
Okay. So if someone has upgraded their electronic equipment and they're trying to figure out how to dispose of the item that was just upgraded, they should come to one of these events.
They can come to one of the events.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bringing these items to one of these events, is there a fee for county residents to drop these items off?
There's no fee.
Now, I know there used to be.
There used to be a fee prior to the act in 2011, but after the act was put into place, there have been no fees. So residents can bring their items to us at no cost.
Okay. Now, a couple of the items that I did not hear you mentioned are items that I might think, or maybe some of our viewers might think, are in fact hazardous materials. For example, a microwave oven.
Okay.
That is not something that is.
Yeah, no, microwave oven, unfortunately, is just garbage.
Okay.
I mean, there's no means to recycle them, and so for that reason, they become just garbage. Residents can take those microwave ovens and put them out their trash. Depending on the town, they may have to wait for a bulk cleanup day or something to put the microwaves out. But microwave ovens are just regular trash.
Okay. Well, what about batteries? I thought batteries at one time used to be considered a hazardous waste.
Yeah. Household batteries, your alkaline, your carbon zincs, which would be your AA's, AAA's, C's, D's, 9 volts, used to be hazardous. They used to have mercury in them. They no longer do. They are non-hazardous and can be thrown in the regular trash. The batteries that you want to recycle will be your lead acids, your rechargeables, you got lithiums, and then the little button cells. Those are all the types of batteries that would need to be recycled.
Okay. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but I understand that these days more towns are accepting the e-waste that we're talking about than has been the case in the past. Is that true?
That is true. That's very true. I mean, a lot of some of the towns were collecting, and now there are a lot more towns.
Okay.
Just as part of the Morris County MUA program, we have 20 towns as part of our program, but there's also probably another, I think there's another maybe 10 or 11 towns have their own programs. So out of the 39 towns, you're probably talking around 30 or so have electronic recycling programs.
Is this the kind of information that one might find on the MUA's website?
Absolutely. If a resident needed to find out how to get rid of recycle their electronics, they can go to our website, again, www.mcmua.com. We have a long list of all the municipalities that will accept electronics. The MUA's site is there, also businesses.
There are more businesses, retail establishments that are accepting?
Retail establishments that will accept certain electronics.
Okay. So now we've covered the electronics, the covered e-waste, as it were. Now, what about hazardous household materials? What kinds of items are we talking about here that will be accepted?
Okay, basically anything hazardous from the household. I mean, you're talking automotive fluids such as like motor oil, antifreeze, gasoline, power steering fluid, brake fluid, kerosene, car batteries, again, your rechargeable batteries, button cell lithium batteries, fertilizers, herbicides, pesticides, oil-based paints, paint stains, thinners, pool chemicals, darkroom chemicals, fluorescent bulbs, driveway sealant, mercury-containing devices like thermostats, thermometers, propane tanks, helium tanks. So that's a rough cleaning agents. I mean, so kind of a rough idea of everything that we take.
And these items can be disposed of free of charge also by Morris County residents?
Yes, there's absolutely no cost to Morris County residents.
Now, what is a business or a large entity supposed to do with these chemicals if they can't come to these events in September and October? Does the county have?
Yeah, large entities, large businesses, any businesses. These events are strictly for Morris County residents. No businesses, no schools, anything, just residents. Okay. Morris County has a permanent hazardous waste facility up in Mount Olive. It is by appointment. Now, small businesses can register to come to those to the permanent hazardous waste facility.
Okay.
There's paperwork involved, that we have to make sure that they're small enough. There are DEP regulations that have to be met to be able to come to us, but the smaller businesses can come to us when they call and register.
Okay, and in just another minute or two, we'll be giving you that telephone number again, and we'll also be letting you know the dates and the locations for the household hazardous waste disposal events. Things that you don't accept in terms of materials. I noticed you said oil-based paint. Latex paint is not accepted, but that can just be...
Yeah, latex paint is not accepted. We try to encourage the residents to solidify it themselves with kitty litter or speedy dry and throw it out in their regular garbage. There's nothing hazardous about it. It's the liquid aspect of it that's the problem.
Okay.
So that we want to encourage the residents to take care of themselves.
Okay.
We also don't take unknown materials. We don't take medical waste, business waste, smoke detectors, and we don't take tires at these events.
Okay. And again, if you are interested in finding out more about some of the items that are and are not accepted at these events, we'll give you the location and dates first. Saturday, September 13th at the Public Safety Training Academy, 500 West Hanover Avenue in Parsippany. If you can't make that one, there's another one coming up Saturday, October the 18th at Chatham High School. That is on Lafayette Avenue in Chatham. Now, if you have any questions at all about these events or about the permanent facility that Tom mentioned, you can call 973-829-8006, and you can certainly find out more information on the MUA's website, which is www.mcmua.com. Tom Burbridge, I want to thank you very much for being with us today.
Okay, Joe, thanks for having me.
Now, if you have a question about county government that you would like to have answered, you can call the Morris County Freeholders Office at 973-285-6010. You can also visit the county website, morriscountynj.gov. When you're there, please sign up for the county's electronic newsletter. You can get news and information about county government delivered straight to your inbox. And also, while you're on the website, check out the many social networking sites, including Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Scribd, and Flickr that the county uses. I'm Joe Garifo. Thank you very much for being with us. But don't go away, because we will be right back.
Are you pregnant, scared, or a new mother who can't care for your newborn?
There's a safe haven in New Jersey.
You or a friend can bring an infant to any hospital or police station and give up custody safely, legally, and anonymously.
No questions asked. No shame, no blame, no names.
Call 1-877-839-2339 or visit njsafehaven.org to learn more. Remember,
New Jersey has a safe haven for unwanted infants.
Brought to you by the New Jersey Department of Children and Families.
Welcome back to Focus on Morris County. I'm Joe Garifo, and on this segment of the program, we're going to be discussing some county government issues with my guest, Morris County Freeholder Doug Cabana. Freeholder Cabana is a resident of Boonton Township. He joined the Freeholder Board in 1997. He is a two-time director of the Freeholder Board, and he is a former president of the New Jersey Association of Counties. Freeholder, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Joe.
I want to go back to the beginning of the year, if I can, when the Freeholders at the start of 2014 authorized a study into possibly moving the county park police into a new county police department with some additional duties. Now, that plan has since been dropped, but as a liaison to law and public safety, I want to ask you to step back for a minute and explain why that study was initiated in the first place.
The study was initiated to see whether or not we should move the park police into the sheriff's department.
And what was the reason behind looking into that particular issue?
The reason was more or less to look at where if savings could be achieved through that merger.
Now, the freeholders received the study about creating this new county police department, and after looking at it, decided to drop the plan.
Well, as the plan progressed, we realized that it wasn't going to be achieving what we had believed it would achieve initially, to move the park police into the sheriff's department. So it kind of became the option to look at whether or not we should reform them as a county police department, wherein they'd have jurisdiction throughout the county, offer certain services to municipalities, more or less as a giant shared service countywide.
So this was more or less to determine whether or not any efficiencies would be realized, and if those efficiencies would be worth it.
Correct. That's what the goal became. And there were certain functions that we tried to look at, patrols on county roads, for instance, looking at truck weights and things like that, which really age our roads and bridges when there's abuse. And there's a number of functions that can be done, regionally as opposed to locally, and provided to the towns at little or no fee, and begin the opportunities, because face it, the public safety, specifically law enforcement component of any municipal budget is one of the largest components. So if we can help offset some local budgetary restraints, I think it's a good thing.
And I guess that is the case also. I want to jump now to the county offering dispatch services, emergency dispatch services, to the various, to all of the municipalities in Morris County. How many of the 39 towns are taking advantage of that, and what is the benefit to the towns if they do take advantage of that?
Currently, we serve 22 of the 39 towns, plus the Hanover Township Fire Districts. When we did our shared services study back in 2006, the business administrators and the municipal officials came up with a listing of what services they would like to see the county provide. Top of the list was communications. It's a large component. It is something where technology is advancing, and it's very expensive to keep up with it. By doing the regional dispatch center, as we now have, we are now affording the municipalities the opportunity to come to the county to have regional dispatch. If you look at any given situation, especially in an emergent situation, it's not restricted possibly to one town, but to several. We have the resources to move personnel around within the center to respond to any given emergency in any of our towns.
And it benefits the towns financially, I would assume, too.
Well,
correct?
Absolutely, because what we'll do is we will assume the dispatchers from that town to the county. It relieves the municipalities from having those employees. And likewise, there's a fee for it, but it's certainly not the amount that they are paying to do their own dispatch.
Yeah. Sticking with the public safety questions on this segment, earlier this year also, all levels of Morris County government, including some of its private sector partners, participated in a fully functional emergency drill whereby the county and its partners had to prepare for and respond to landfall of a Category 4 major hurricane. This was a drill that took place in the spring. Doug, the purpose behind that drill was what?
Well, the drill was a fictional hurricane, as you said, named Jack, a Category 4 hurricane, which is part of a FEMA training exercise. FEMA will be going around the tri-state area, staging these exercises. Morris County was the first. We were very happy to host the first one in the area because it was the first time that our new Emergency Operations Center got put to a test.
And how did we fare?
We did very well, and I'm very proud of all of the personnel that took place, a part of the drill. It was all of the segments of government, as you mentioned, private sector, meaning the utilities, the hospitals. I mean, we cared for, provisions for our animals. It was really just a culmination of all facets of who would respond to an emergency in Morris County coming together.
Yeah, and you were there observing during the drill, correct?
Yeah, it was a real life, real time situation. As the drill unfolded, the people there had to respond to and take care of the issues that were raised as part of the drill. There were also FEMA observers that were there to see how this thing was playing out, and we fared very well.
Yeah. Now, the only thing, and we should mention that the only thing that actually did not happen in real time was, for example, if we had to dispatch emergency services personnel to a specific location, all of that was taking place in the Emergency Operations Center. Those people were not actually dispatched to the center, but
Correct.
but all of the pieces were in place if they had to be. Now, let's go back. The drill we mentioned was in the new EOC, the new Emergency Operations Center. If the county had to respond to a catastrophic event, what difference does this new EOC make compared to the facility that the county had been using for years prior to this, to the new EOC?
Well, this building is part of the new public safety complex that was just completed and dedicated in the fall. This building can sustain a Category 5 hurricane. It has all of the requirements that FEMA and the federal government have to making it a impenetrable building. In the past, we've had problems because our EOC was simply in an office space. It didn't have the redundancies and the backups and the hardening, if you will, of the facility to sustain any substantial hit. And we saw in one of the past major storms that we did have an issue with the generator.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen again.
And even just elbow room, so to speak, the old facility, maybe people were working around a couple of conference tables. In this new facility, we had about 100 or so people operating in this room, and there were no problems at all, correct?
Well, one thing we did realize, because when one visits the room, they say, oh my God, this is huge. But when you put the 100 people, we're like, maybe it's not. But hopefully, God will preserve us and save us, and we will not have another major storm in Morris County for a while. We know we are prepared for it.
Okay. Now, another major initiative that the Freeholder Board has been undertaking is that of video conferencing court appearances. I know the freeholders have been working with the courts, you've been working with the sheriff's office and the correctional facility. How would this video conferencing work?
The video conferencing would be a link from the jail to the municipal court. That would allow the judge to hold a hearing with the inmate or defendant from the jail, as opposed to transporting that individual to the municipal court.
And again, is this aimed at more efficiencies?
Yes, and I believe it will achieve a lot of efficiencies. Currently, the Dover Joint Municipal Court, which comprises 6 municipalities in central Morris County, does have a link to the jail, and it works very well.
And I guess we should explain that what happens is an officer from a local police department has to transport a suspect or an inmate or a defendant from their facility to the courthouse and then back again, and that takes time and money, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Well, there is a jail transport team that will take the prisoners from the jail to the municipal courts, drop them, and they have a route that they do.
Okay.
By doing the video conferencing, that can be scaled back dramatically, since many of the times the prisoner is there for a first appearance, a payment plan, things along those lines which don't require a trial. But we do believe that what we're looking at is so you can conduct a trial via the video conferencing.
Okay. You are also a member, Freeholder Cabana, of the Freeholders Facilities Review and Capital Budget Committee. Can you explain the function of that committee and what role it plays in the budget process?
All right. The Facilities Committee essentially acts as the gatekeeper for any municipal or any capital projects that any of the departments of the county wish to have in the coming years. Capital plan goes out 6 years. And we will look at different projects and how to fund the projects, whether it be here at the college, at VOTEC, and the Park Commission, anything along the lines that requires capital improvements. It also includes our roads and bridges.
Now, over the last couple of years, the number of capital projects, especially this year, have declined, and that means that the county's debt is also declining. But it's not coming at the expense of road improvements, repaving. Why is this area seeing an increase in its budget? Why are the freeholders concerned with the infrastructure?
Well, you have to be concerned with the infrastructure, and I believe that our position for many years has been if you're preventative, it's going to be cheaper in the long run. Obviously, every physical structure has an obsolescence at some point and will need to be replaced, but if you can have that life of that thing go further, you're saving your money in the long run.
And of course, the storms over the last couple of years have not helped matters.
Not at all, and neither has this past winter. This wreaked havoc on our roads. We haven't had a winter this bad since 1996, and we saw a lot of increase in paving projects. We've put an additional $1 million in the budget because our roads just need to be, maintained at a level that the people expect.
Yeah. Well, Freeholder Doug Cabana, I want to thank you very much for being with us. I know we've only just touched the surface of some county government issues, but I want to thank you for being here today and ask our viewers to give the Freeholder's office a call if you have any questions about any issue in particular, maybe something that we did not have a chance to touch on today. You can call the Freeholder's office at 973-285-6010 and also visit the county government website, morriscountynj.gov. You can get lots of county government information on the website, and you can also sign up for the county's electronic newsletter, Morris Connections. And once you're on the website, please take advantage of the various social networking sites that Morris County government takes advantage of, including Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Scribd, and Flickr. I'm Joe Garifo. Thank you very much for being with us. Tune in again next week at this time, won't you, for another edition of Focus on Morris County.